Hello. This episode is together with Maria Morgan from England, from London. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Cecilia. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Welcome, welcome. Yes, you are a therapy coach in London, and you share this understanding and have been written a book.
Yeah, a
About
little ebook, just a little ebook. Yeah.
yeah. But I have seen you a lot on Facebook. So written text and so on. And today you send up the topic for this conversation, and it is making peace with your appearance.
Yeah, that's right. Would you like me to say a little bit about my journey? Yeah.
Yeah, you're allowed to start, Maria.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so it's a topic I'm really passionate about because for most of my life, around 30 years, I was not at peace with my appearance. And I really suffered so much. And in fact, it's only since recovering from that I realized how difficult it was, because it was always there in the background, this feeling of not being good enough, feeling like I always had to do something to change myself, to feel attractive. And even if I was kind of ticking all the boxes, which I did at times, just about temporarily, I just felt this strain and this pressure that that I had to do so much to be good enough, to look good enough. And I really felt like being attractive, being seen as attractive, was what gave me worth. So, and in a way, because it went on for such a long time, I thought it might never really change. I hoped it would, but I didn't. So when it did change, I was just so excited. I'm still excited because it's just like a new life. It just, without that pressure, life is easier. And one of the big impacts of all that pressure was that it created disordered eating in me. And in fact, that's what I focused on. So I thought, I'm greedy, I eat too much. And I didn't realize that I was eating to soothe this suffering from feeling unworthy. And, because it was all I really wanted to feel worthy and feel good enough, obviously, then I tried to control the eating and to control my body and my appearance. So then I went into anorexia at times, over exercising, just a lot of effort to try and look good enough because I thought that's what would make me happy. So yeah, that's why I'm so passionate about people freeing themselves from this, because when you're in it, you don't really realize you're in it. So most people think that, let's say, they're ugly or they're unattractive, and it's something they just have to accept. And it's very limiting because you don't realize that you're seeing yourself through all this conditioning, because it starts when we're born. Really, we start hearing it and we don't realize that it's judgment. We start to get all these messages. Now, some of them are really obvious, like if you have parents that tell you you're too fat, you're ugly, that sort of thing. That's really obvious. But for me, I didn't have that. I picked it up from subtle things like watching movies where, the good people, the important people, the valuable people, and the characters in the story, they all look a certain way. And then the other people who you laugh at or who aren't considered important to the story, they all look a different way. often pick it up through compliments. Like if someone's wearing makeup, you say, oh, you look nice. If they're not wearing makeup, don't say that so much. Or you look well, even kind of conflating health and wearing makeup. Or, oh, you've lost weight, as if that's always a good thing. And for some people at a certain size, it's not healthy for them. So there's this idea that thinner is better, smooth skin is better than cellulite or wrinkles. There's a massive thing around aging, that's ugly, and we just accept it. We accept all these rules without realizing it. And we can live under a real cloud, because if we don't measure up, or for me, and I know so many people like this, they feel subhuman. They feel not good enough, and they can't enjoy their lives. And so that's really what I want to help change. I want to help people realize everybody is beautiful. There is no hierarchy. No one looks better than anyone else. And we can't see that because we're looking through the lens of judgment. But when we lift that veil of judgment, the whole world looks so much more beautiful. Everyone in it. And that always includes us, because we're a part of it. And so that's what's kind of changed for me. It's not that I now think, oh, I look so great. It's that I realize I'm a part of life. And there's a beauty in that. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It really does. And I went to a webinar last week, and they were talking about the new way to be non-perfect instead of perfect. It's the new way to live. We don't want to be that perfect, because it started so much stress in the nervous system, and we always feeling like we can't manage all these things out there in the community. You need to be so much, and you can't, you get stressed about it. Yeah. So non-perfect is good enough.
Yeah, and it's also seeing that I think a lot of us are chasing conformity. So we all want to fit in. You know, you look around you, the way people like dress and the makeup and the Botox and everything and the eyelashes and the fake tan. It's almost like we're all moving in a direction where we all want to look the same. We want to have the same kind of figure, the same smooth skin, the same, like all look like we're about 15 years old, ideally, right? But there is no vibrancy there, because where there is individuality, authenticity, that's what makes life worth living. You know, we want to get to know real people who are different and who have different ideas and look different. And there's a beauty in the diversity. It's like nature, right? We are a part of nature. When you look at, you don't just want all the trees to look the same, all the flowers to look the same. And there's just so much, you know, it just fills you with awe when you look at the majesty of nature. But we forget we're a part of that, and we are all a part of that. And we just place so many conditions on ourselves, particularly in the area of appearance. I mean, we do it in every area, but with appearance, I think sometimes we're less aware of that, because we just take it as fact that there is a hierarchy and you have a number out of 10 and this is where you rank, and it's all made up.
And just recognize with yourself when you feel the authentic with someone, when you just can, when you meet someone that don't have this thinking about you, you can just, everything settles down and you can just be you, and you feel that it's something, it's a different feeling. It's a real, you feel more alive. It's like when you're with children.
Yes, yes.
You can be you, and we all know that feeling, because it makes us rest in our body.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've noticed with my daughter, she hasn't got all the judgments about appearance yet, because I haven't taught them to her. She doesn't watch any TV yet. She's 5. And so she just doesn't have them. So she doesn't see better or worse. And it's really amazing to see that, because you see that this is validating the truth that we don't come out with these judgments, that there is no objectivity here. It's like, and it's not that it's not important how we look, right? The details aren't important, but when I look at you, it's enjoyable, because I'm seeing your unique face and no one looks like you. And there's a beauty, especially because, the space you're in, like life is shining out of you. And how do I know it's you and not somebody else? It's because you have a unique appearance, which I can enjoy, because it's how I know that you're there. Your particular soul is there. It's through your body. Otherwise, I wouldn't know that you're there. And so it's not that, because people feel like, well, if I drop all these appearance standards, I have to just accept. Or people see like they feel like they have to accept, like they have to sacrifice the joy of beauty. And that is not the case, because it's just that we see more beauty everywhere when there isn't judgment. We genuinely see more beauty. Like I enjoy looking at people I love.
But you also feel when they are not home in their self, when they are having a play to be someone else. You can see that, because you don't connect. It's you're not connect with the authentic in that person. Just
absolutely, yeah, because we're in our heads, aren't we?
Yeah,
when someone in our heads, yeah.
Yeah, when we are up in our head, the other person feel that, because it's not that deep connection with each other. And if you're not that present, you can also feel that when someone are present with you, it's also relax the system, and you allow yourself to be you.
And it's very fulfilling, I find, like to be in that heart-to-heart connection, to be to not have self-conscious thinking in the way. That's what helps lift people, I think, in part out of depression, is that we're meant to be connected and part of a community with one another, a loving community. Like this is one thing that's really helped me. It's just such a joy in life. And it's yeah, I feel like that's the real part of healing, is that we come together and support one another.
And people always think that we need to talk about the problems all the time when we are that present with someone. But I could really see when I was in that bad shape, when I had this all this depression, that if someone just talked about other stuff with me, just went there and sat with me, I felt like I could rest.
Yeah.
It felt better, but I didn't know about that was the right way to open up for this, to calm down. But I can really see that was the best. And it wasn't always the therapist. It could be the neighbor in the bed beside me on the hospital that talked to me that beautiful.
Yeah, it can happen anywhere. Like I remember when I was living abroad and I was very miserable. I was 18 years old. I was living in a foreign country. I didn't speak the language. I had eating problems, so I was gaining weight. And sometimes I would talk to old people, like at the bus stop, because they had time. And yeah, it was calming, because they weren't stressed. And it was just like some kind of normality, like just out of my head. So I could so know what you mean. Like when you're with someone who's just kind of kind and calm, helps you settle. And I think that's one of the loveliest gifts we can give people.
And take a rest from the problem.
Yeah.
Because you get so tired to be up in your head and have all this stuff going around all the time. So I can see when you meet someone that the best thing is to just leave it and talk about something else.
Yeah.
If that's possible, sometimes you need to talk about it.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's better to just look around and see if you can talk about something else.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. But even now, there's a real temptation, sorry, to, follow my thoughts and figure things out. So I think that's part of being human. But over time, once I think you get a taste of this kind of peace, you do that a little bit less. Like, well, for me, for other people, it's probably more dramatic, but I guess it's just feeling the truth deeper and deeper that our experience is coming from the inside out. Because, a lot of the time it doesn't look like that. But yeah, when we see that and we settle down, I feel like we discover a whole new world. That spaciousness. And for me, it's got a real magic to it.
A word that came through my mind now was simplicity. You get that feeling when you just slow everything down and you don't have to figure everything out, to just feel the simplicity.
Yeah, I remember in the past when I wasn't doing very well and I hadn't come across the three principles or anything, but I remember just sort of feeling really clearly, I want the world to stop so I can get off. And it was soothing even to realize that. Like I just knew I need to slow down. I need to, it's just too fast, it's just too much. So yeah.
And when you get stressed, it's very human to take something to eat or something to take stuff, because you need to calm down. And you think that if you eat this or drink this or do that, it will help you.
Yeah.
But when I found that I don't need that, because I can find that place in myself without taking this stuff. It changed.
Mm.
And I call it transformed, because it transformed me, that I touched that part in me that knew that it was possible for me to calm down by myself, just breathe and take it slow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because sometimes when you eat, you just want to fill that hole in you that you are not comfortable. The pain you feel, the uncomfortable feelings, you want to fill that with this stuff, with this food.
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit like, with a baby and they're crying and you give it a pacifier or a dummy to help calm down. For me, that's what it was like. So with eating, I would try and calm myself down that way. And it did calm me down. So that's why it became a habit. But I also did that in the opposite way, losing weight, because I thought that will make me happy. So I was soothing myself through focusing on that as well at times, because it's like, this will be the solution. So I'll focus on this activity, to get me somewhere other than feeling this. It's like what you're saying. It's trying not to feel the discomfort and trying to avoid feelings, and soothing, which for me, one of the key things that I was soothing was just not feeling good enough, because at a deep level, it wasn't really the way I looked. It was even kind of deeper than that. It was like the idea that my worth is conditional was painful. That is the disconnection from who we really are, the love that we are. So when we feel disconnected from that, and the idea that I can get life wrong, I can be wrong, I'm not good enough. For me, it was all in the area of looks, but for other people, it can be in different areas. It's really painful. And so I needed something to deal with that pain, or I naturally turned to that. It was kind of inevitable. But when I dropped the judgment around, you need to look this way to be a worthy person, I didn't feel that compulsion anymore to soothe, because the love within me is what's soothing. It's like the ultimate soothing balm, feeling who we are.
But Maria, did you start to get healthy then when you understood? Did you lose weight and get healthy then when you started to see this?
So before I say that, I just want to make a distinction between thin and healthy, right? Because for me, when I was the thinnest, I was very unhealthy. So I wasn't eating balanced way. I wasn't getting proper nutrition. I had no energy. So thin is not always healthy, right? And that is a big misunderstanding in our culture. So the first thing that happened was I actually started eating loads of junk, because I had been restricting myself. So I've been living in a very controlled way. And when I dropped all the rules, I went quite crazy eating loads of junk. And then it calmed down. And so that was kind of my journey. I didn't have to control anything. And naturally, you see, I think this is just natural. I don't think people are naturally, when they're happy within themselves, they access their wisdom, and we have bodies and we need to take care of them. But it's not in a kind of obsessive way. So before, everything was obsessive and controlled, and I had a plan and I had spreadsheets, honestly, tracking everything, weighing myself. It was a massive project and it was a huge stress. So now I'm a lot healthier and I'm a lot more peaceful as well. I don't push myself as hard and I'm not as strict, but I have no fear. Like in the past, I would want to eat a whole cake or a whole pack of biscuits. Now I'm happy to have a piece of cake and that's enough, because I'm in touch with the natural appetites and rhythms within my body, because I don't have that insatiable appetite for acceptance or feeling good enough and for love. Because I don't have that, naturally, my relationship with food, eating, movement all gets healthier. But I think it's really helpful for all of us when we drop the judgment of how other people appear. So we don't know where they are on their journey, and they might need to go through a period of rebellion, or go through a period when they don't exercise. They might be recalibrating, but the best thing we can do for them is love them. And trust, because this is a big thing. We have to trust that they have innate health and wisdom. And how do you access that? When you feel love.
And that can be difficult.
Yeah.
It can be difficult because and if it's in your family or if near you, a friend or something, you wanna help and you do love, but it can be difficult sometimes. because
Yeah,
you
correct.
know you need to be healthy, because you can, there are a lot of sickness that comes with not taking care of your body.
Yeah, and I think in emergency situations, for example, if someone's so anorexic that they're going to die, I
Mm,
do think it makes sense to intervene, like, and not just to let them die and let them.
mm,
So I think there is that. It is absolutely difficult to watch someone and they're destroying their health
mm.
innocently. That's really hard, especially if it's family or people you're really close to. But a lot of the kind of treatment approaches, they're kind of superficial and temporary, and they still leave people with a lot of suffering. So they often kind of relapse because it doesn't get to that kind of the depth that people need to go to. Like it's just sort of solving it at this level, but they need to go deeper, you know? So it's about having trust in life.
But I remember my husband said to me, now it's enough now.
Mm,
Stop this overeating. And I get really sad. It was not easy to hear that it's enough now.
mm,
But something started in me. It was a wake up, because he didn't say that to judge. He said
yeah.
he said that with love. And sometimes I feel that sometimes we also say to people, stop, because we love them, and not for judging them, just to wake them up so they can start to see for themselves. So I started to see, and for me, I in that time, I had enough with my overweight. I was weigh 286 pounds.
Mm,
It was a lot, and I
yeah.
didn't feel well at all. I had thrombus in my arm, and I was laying in the sofa all the time. So I did a gastric bypass operation,
Mm-hmm.
and in that moment, or in that time, it felt right for me to do that.
Mm,
And after that operation, it changed my thinking, because I lost weight, and when I lost weight, I could take care of other feelings in my body, and I started to feel better.
mm,
And then my thinking shift with food, because I didn't think about food all the time.
mm,
I couldn't eat all this stuff when I was feeling these ugly feelings, because my body couldn't take all that.
mm,
Maybe I shouldn't do the operation if it was today,
mm-hmm.
but in that time, when I didn't have this understanding and haven't met the three principles understanding, it was something I had to do for me.
Yeah, I think we all have to do what makes sense given the thinking that looks true,
Mm,
and I think, like I said, with, anorexics, helping them to survive, or if people's weight is, at such a dangerous level, taking action. Some people take some medication, think so. It's not that I think any of that's wrong, but I don't think it's necessarily what you would want for people. Like you would want people to really, where's the whole problem coming from?
mm.
And to kind of go at it at that level is what kind of I'm about. But of course, people are going to do like I did. You do what makes sense given the thinking that looks true to you.
And you have to wake up to this. because insights come from the inside.
Yes.
So you need to wake up, and I didn't wake up to it. So
Yeah.
that's what I saw that was possible for me to do this operation, and I felt better. And sometimes we feel better with doing things, but it's not something that heal why you are overeating.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
It
Yeah.
didn't, because under this, all this feeling was still there. So
Mm.
I needed to take care of that later on.
Mm. Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah.
And it's very nice to not think about my body anymore, because I don't. I don't think
Mm.
about my body anymore or my eating. I do eat sweets, but I don't overeat, and I feel fine with my body.
Mm.
It's okay now. I can.
Yeah, I mean, that is a really wonderful thing because it's actually really very rare, especially for women. You speak to most women and they will put themselves down and say, this isn't right, it should be like this. So in our culture today, we are generally taught to be very, very critical of our bodies. That's the norm.
Mm.
And we're taught to compare our bodies with other people's bodies. So the fact that you feel comfortable in your body is absolutely wonderful. That
Yeah,
is,
and I bought a lot of new clothes, and I have a lot of clothes. And I remember when I had this overweight, I felt like a Christmas tree when I was putting something new on me, necklace or earrings or clothes. I felt like a Christmas tree. I wasn't comfortable, and I
but
always
what do you
wear
mean you felt
black.
like a Christmas tree? I don't understand.
It like you put things on a Christmas tree. You
Mm.
feel like a tree when you. I wasn't comfortable with the things. I just heard people say, but buy this new dress, or. But I didn't feel comfortable. It didn't help me to buy this stuff, because
No.
I didn't feel nice from within.
Yeah.
And now I feel nice from within with my body, so I don't think about it anymore. And when you stop to think about, it's not a problem anymore, and that's a relief.
Yeah. I mean, definitely that for me was a huge part of it, simply taking my mind off it.
Mm.
You know, then I could enjoy things in life if I wasn't thinking about it. But the trouble was the beliefs were still there. So in certain situations, they would always I would be reminded of them until they actually dissolved. But yes, I would absolutely, if somebody's really struggling with this, the more they can take their mind of it, relax, the more likely they are to have insights so that those beliefs can dissolve.
And I don't think that we can put the feeling of not being good enough. I think that feeling always comes in some way in a low mood, even
Yeah.
if you go deep in with yourself and recover, because I have recovered for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But I still got this feeling when I'm in a low mood that I'm not good enough. And I know, I really know that it's my thinking. But I
Mm.
got this thinking because I have it all. I have
Yeah.
all emotions. And it goes up and down because I'm human.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think I'm exactly the same. I'm surprised if there'll be anyone different. Insecure thought comes in, looks real, we feel it. But I think what changes is our relationship with it. So I'm much more relaxed about it now. I don't take it so seriously, I don't sort of, well, sometimes I do, but then it passes. So I think that's a really key thing. And I see it as an kind of as an emotional experience rather than before. It would be like, oh, it's because of this thing, it's because of my body or this situation or this thing. I shouldn't lie. I still see it like that, but I just come out of it more, you know, and that, but that changes your whole life. It really does change your whole life.
And I love that we can just be so authentic that we can tell that I'm eating sweet and you still feel this, and because we are human, we can't forget that we are here to have this human experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in this play, in this game, we have these feelings, and
Yeah,
it's all right, and it's all right to have it also. But when you know things about yourself, who you are, that you are not this thinking or this circumstances that happens to you, you are not that, then it's easier to come back and
yes,
to
yeah.
I can say that I'm a kind of
Mm,
nursing myself back to take a step back, breathe, and come back.
yeah.
It's a system inside that always guiding us.
And I think as well that when we are in insecure thought, in low mood, there's a beauty in reaching out to people and being vulnerable, which is exquisite. You know, there can be so much intimacy there that somebody can accept you in your low mood, not see that as the whole of you, not define you by that, not say that's your identity, but hold space for that. That's what I have like with my husband, which is such a beautiful thing that I wouldn't be without that, you know, because it does create a lot of the vulnerability, helps to strengthen the intimacy, which is so fulfilling. So it's a part of, as you say, a human experience, and it's meant to be a part of it.
And allow yourself to react on things. If you want to cry, if you want to be angry, that's also wisdom in that. I see it like that. That you feel what you feel.
Yeah, I think there's so much wisdom in our feelings, and I don't always know exactly. I can't always put it into words, but feeling sadness, anger, all the ones we don't like so much, fear, there's something in all of that. You know, it can really help us. We can learn from it.
It can rescue us. If you feel
Yeah,
fear for someone that is coming with a knife and after you, you feel
yeah.
fear. That it comes from wisdom.
Mm.
It's a letter to you to tell you, hello, run away.
Yeah.
This is not good. So
Sometimes it's that, and then sometimes it's trying to make you aware that the quality of your thinking is low.
Mm.
So that's, I guess, the journey is discerning the message.
It's both. If someone is
Yeah,
running after you with a knife, it's not a low mood. It's just a
yeah,
warning.
it's going to
Run.
help your body move. Yeah.
Because there are also lots of crazy things out in the world. So if people haven't wake up, they do crazy things, and maybe you have to run away. But
Mm.
but if you come in a low mood with yourself and you have this awful thinking, you can know that it's your low mood.
Yeah, you can learn to sort of start to get to know the difference. Yeah.
And you're thinking about that I'm awful, I'm not good, people think this and that with
No one
about
likes
me.
me. I'll never succeed at anything. It's all pointless. Yeah. It's so funny because we always think it was not that funny, but we think it's us and it's so universal. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you have to sit with it a day or two and cry and feel like, oh yes, yes, I'm awful. Because I still have those moments, and
Yeah.
I know now that if I allow myself to sit with it and cry and feel that I'm awful and I can't do this and blah blah blah, it go faster away.
Yeah.
But I still got this moment, and I feel when I'm talking to people that I want to be authentic, to tell that I also got this, and that's so human to have it. But if you know that you are not these emotions, you are the one that experiences this, it's much easier to come back again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think pretending that we don't have those experiences just creates distance because it becomes like a hierarchy.
Mm.
That person is more evolved than I am. No, I don't want to, I don't want, yeah, I'm not interested in that.
That's a show. I see it
Yeah,
like a show. If I
yeah.
listen to people that are always talking that they are so happy all the time, I
Mm,
I just I just see it as a show.
mm.
It cannot be true that you are always that positive. Like people always said to me when I was depressed, oh, don't be like that. You must be positive. You must think positive thoughts. And
Mm.
I couldn't. And I get even more angry about it
Yes.
because they were so positive and I'm not.
Yeah.
So, like you say, to give someone space to just sit with them and let them share and express this emotions for a little while, it helps a lot.
Yeah, it does. We get frightened. So then we feel like, oh my goodness, they're really bad. I need to do something. But it's amazing how much difference it can often make when you just don't freak out. You just let someone cry and then they kind of naturally come out of it, often just sometimes a little bit, sometimes a lot. There's so much power in that. Because really what it's saying is implicitly is I'm seeing you're having this experience, but I'm not freaking out because I know there's more to you than this experience. And I'm kind of okay with it. And so that creates a feeling of safety. Because if you went to your therapist and you told them something or coach or whatever, and they were like, oh my God, oh, this is really bad, wouldn't you?
I told you, doctor, rightly, I give you medicine.
Just sort of just holding the space, it just creates a feeling of safety. And then that helps me anyway, access to safety within myself. So, but it's a special thing because a lot of people don't do that. Like culturally, we're often in there with the advice. Have you heard of the three principles? I'm going to tell you about it, this and that. Da, 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 da. So when we experience that, I don't take it for granted because I find it really special that someone can hold space. Like my husband, for example, he's never heard of the three principles. He's not interested, but he holds space, right? Because the three principles is a universal human thing. It's just a particular language for something. But yeah, I really value that so highly when people can just listen without giving advice. And I know I really fall into that. Oh, I've got something to say here. And
sometimes we do, and sometimes
it's appropriate, sometimes it's helpful, but we can often culturally we err too much on the other side of rushing in too quickly, too much advice. And just to shift it a little bit the other way is helpful. And I'm really grateful when I come across people who can do that for me. Because we don't want to be lectured. When we're feeling down, we don't want to lecture. It doesn't help. It makes us feel less than, judged, creates pressure. So acceptance is just so healing. And respect.
Yeah, and respect. But when we are in that low mood, we are also so tired.
Yeah.
So when people suggest even more things to do, we get
so annoying. It's so annoying. It's like, oh, come on. I've been trying to sort this out. Don't give me another bloody book or
I gave up. I don't want anymore. Just go. Everyone, just leave.
Yeah.
And that's wisdom in that too.
Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom in that. There's a lot of women's wisdom in saying, enough. I don't want to think anymore. Yes, that's a good point, isn't it? I'm going to stop trying. I'm going to stop putting pressure on myself. I'm going to stop judging myself. I'm just going to be. Even if I feel miserable, I'm just going to let myself be. And just respect the experience that I'm going through and honor it. And then it moves through naturally, effortlessly. And I think we always learn something as well. But we learn it in a way where it's actually deep enough to make a difference to our lives, rather than when we're always in the kind of striving and pushing and trying, and we don't really learn anything in a kind of sustainable, deep way that makes a difference. Or it can make a little difference, and sometimes that's all we've got. Anyway, I'm waffling a bit.
And the reason I make this record and create these recordings with people is just to help people get this safe place, this space. Because maybe you don't have anyone to sit with who knows that it's better to just settle it, to calm down. But we point into that in these conversations, that you got it.
Yes. Yeah.
So for me, it was very helpful to listen to these kinds of recordings.
Me too. I've listened to so many. And it was so helpful. Yeah, because I would often, still now, I don't listen so much anymore, but often I would listen and I would settle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really powerful.
I love this talk, Maria.
Yeah, it's been really nice.
Yeah. Really. Yeah. Nice to know you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, I invite you again.
Oh, brilliant.
You come back later. Just tell me. So we have a new session. This is an area that people are struggling a lot with, to be enough, to be good enough, to not be wrong and not be broken.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Lovely to be with you.
Lovely to be with you. Bye.
Bye.